Masihlaleni phansi. Program Director, Ministers, Minister Balula, Minister Mkunu, Minister Mafaku, Dabeni Abrahams, Diambuza ukuthi kuthene lapha uMafaku uthi wayefanele ukuthi abe lapha even if wayesesibhedlele wayezovuka ngedrip abe khona apha ngoba kusekhaya. Minister Delil had to leave earlier, as you heard, because she had to catch a plane. Deputy Minister Kivit, Premier of Eastern Cape Province, Premier Oscar Mabuyane, MECs of our provincial government here, ukumkani wamampondo Mkili uthe kunala nxamele khona kodwa ke we want to welcome other traditional leaders who are here present, our executive mayors and councillors and leaders of local government, and I also greet the chairperson of SANRAL and SANRAL officials and representatives present here, leaders of our community, and ladies and gentlemen. Seksemini ngoku, molweni. Ndiyavuya ukuba lapha Eastern Cape kule ndawo yamaMpondo. What I've seen today is truly an extraordinary operation of enormous proportions that is rising to the skies in the rural part of our country, in the Eastern Cape. Those of you who know me, they know that whenever I go to a building site, I really get excited and I feel energized. And at times I even feel like I could be an engineer and stay on the projects and work there. This project is a sign of our government's determination to proceed with our infrastructure build. We've often said that we want to transform South Africa into a construction site. Now, this part of the Eastern Cape, as you can see, is today a construction site. We are committed as a government to ensure that we grow our economy through infrastructure development. I've often said that infrastructure is the flywheel of our economic growth. Here at Msikaba is one of two major projects that we have embarked upon. These two major bridges, the construction of this, yes, will be completed not today, not tomorrow. It will take some time, but in the end, we will have constructed mega bridges, truly outstanding ones. Earlier today, as we flew over Msikaba Bridge, over 64 kilometers away, I saw for myself the potential that these two bridges are going to bring to this area. Now, once this Msikaba Bridge is completed on its own, it is going to be the highest bridge on the African continent and one of the longest bridges of its kind in the world. Now, this is a phenomenal achievement that we are going to have. Ukuthi apha in the Eastern Cape, we are going to have infrastructure projects that are going to be world-renowned. This is a Sanral flagship infrastructure project. It is one of the 18 designated national strategic integrated projects, which we call SIPs, of a catalytic value. By this, we mean that they don't only spur economic activity, but they also have a community development component. They also have a service delivery component. But I guess one of the most important aspects is that kuzawukhiwa imisebenzi apha. Sesiyabona kule project ngokwayo, the two projects are going to finally create 8,000 jobs. And xa ujonga the other spin-offs, we are going to have further thousands and thousands of jobs that are going to be created. Now, another noteworthy aspect of this project is the attention to the environmental impact in this area. The biodiversity offset program will result in Silika and Mkambati nature reserves being expanded, leading to the creation of further jobs, and lead to a new protected area in the Pondoland center of the floral area, totaling approximately 20,000 hectares. When we announced the economic recovery plan in October last year, we said that we will prioritize infrastructure spending to support economic growth and job creation in both the immediate short term as well as the long term. A number of the mass infrastructure projects we outlined in the plan have now commenced. And a number of people keep saying we are not seeing this infrastructure built. But siyayibona apha, we are seeing exactly what the infrastructure build is. This has contributed to investor confidence. Xa ama-investors besijonga bayabona ukuthi we are truly serious about infrastructure build. We are truly serious about economic growth and development, and that is why investor confidence is growing by leaps and bounds, much as a number of people, but investor confidence has gone down. Later this evening, I'm going to be announcing another major investment project, which is going to measure in billions and billions as well. What is most beneficial about massive infrastructure projects such as this one is that they will yield prolonged benefit over a long time. There is the benefit to communities. Mobility is a major challenge for our people in the province, especially in rural areas. The division that is caused by this divide of the mountains and the river is now just going to be brought down and contracted, and people will be able to walk across the river with greater ease within a short space of time. This highway will allow traveling distance and time, and it will also be much safer. There is the benefit to tourism. Once all this is done, kuzawuba nabo bungee jumping, kuzawuba nabo viewing points, kuzawuba nabo cable car, kuzawuba nento ezininzi. uMafaku has already got lots of plans for small, medium enterprises. So here there's great potential that we are going to get for our communities. There is also the benefit to the provincial and national economy. This highway will support the transportation of goods and services to the entire Southern African region. It will create a trade corridor running along the Indian Ocean coastline from Cape Town through to Gqeberha, to East London, to Durban, to Ermelo in Mpumalanga as well. With the coming into operation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area in January this year, I can certainly see this project playing a key role in the movement of goods and services to the continental market. Through this, we must raise our gaze a little bit. We now need to look beyond just this area. We must look into the rest of the continent and say, through this free highway that we are going to have going past through this area, we are now reaching out to the rest of the continent. There is the socio-economic and enterprise development benefits as well. Now, approximately 4 billion rand will be spent on targeted enterprise development during the construction of this project. This will ensure that the investment on this project will be plowed back into the communities. Already some 120 million has gone to local SMMEs in this area as part of the upgrading and linking of roads, and there are several more projects that are also in the pipeline. By regulating that a minimum of 30% of expenditure is earmarked for targeted enterprise development through subcontractors and suppliers in the area, approximately 4 billion will in future flow to small medium enterprises from the OR Tambo and the Alfred Nzo districts. There is also the benefit of job creation. Now, work on this N2 Wild Coast project will lead, as I said earlier, to some 8,000 direct full-time jobs, and between 21 and 28,000 indirect jobs during the construction phase. Now, these are jobs that did not exist here. Now, through this project, right up to 28,000 indirect jobs will flow from this project. And then if you add the 8,000 jobs that are going to be created during the life of this project, we are talking about a substantial number of jobs. But this translates to a wage bill of 750 million rand. Now, both skilled and unskilled workers have already been employed on this project. And for me, it was a real joy to meet some of the workers, to meet workers who before this project were not employed, to talk to the workers who now have a job and who are executing their jobs with great pride, but also to talk to workers who have been trained on the job. Now, the CEO of the main construction company here, Konko, Lucas, was saying to me, they are also training abantu balapha, the young people in this area, to be engineers. They are putting them through training, they are going to give them scholarships, and they are going to make sure that they become certificated engineers. You can't get better than that. You really can't get better than that. This is a real homemade project. And of course, once the road is completed, ongoing maintenance work is anticipated to create another 900 direct jobs and full-time jobs and 19,000 indirect jobs. Now, in our country, we often don't focus on maintenance. Now, I'm glad that this project, as it will be completed, it will also be focusing on maintenance. That we should maintain the road, we should maintain all these huge towers that we are putting up, the pylons that are going to support the bridge. And all this will need to be done on a full-time basis, and I'm glad that the culture of maintenance is beginning to seep in to our into our mental psyche as a nation. Now, these numbers confirm and affirm SANRAL's sustained commitment to sustainable job creation. Over the past year alone, SANRAL, which is a government-owned entity or agency, has created almost 18,000 job opportunities at its various projects around the country. This is part of a government-wide effort to create jobs in our economy. We know that this project has not been without its own challenges. Construction had to be halted at Msikaba Bridge because of concerns by communities that they were not being properly included in the development. It is pleasing to note that here in Msikaba, the community participation goal for targeted labor that was set by SANRAL was exceeded at the end of July, with reaching 37% against 32% of local involvement. Now, that is phenomenal. There aren't many projects that operate on this basis, particularly doing it here in the rural area. In other words, we have not just flown a construction company just to come here, construct this bridge and road, and then leave. They have come here, they are working with the community, and quite a lot of the wealth is going to remain here. And ensuring that up to 37% participation is going to be here in the community is phenomenal. 62% of the total workforce of this site are local people here. Bavela apha, abantu abaphangele apha. Benthetha nabo abanye abaninzi apha. Babuza ukuthi nivelaphi, bathi singaba lapha. And that is what is pleasing with this project. Now, of the 330 employed, 156 are employed by the main contractor and 173 by subcontractors who come from here. Now, I want to congratulate the National Department of Transport, as led by Minister Fikile Mbalula. As usual, Mvile is enthusiastic. And Minister Mkhunu was saying, no, ngono simshiye apha. Ahlale apha until this project igqitywe. Kungangcono ukuthi ndimshiye apha nami. Kodwa he still has a lot of work elsewhere. I also want to thank SANRAL and the contractors for ensuring that matters around community participation were dealt with in a very sensitive manner apha kule ndawo. I really want to thank them because they've done a fantastic job. Ukumkani was saying, no, Bafana Guti, they must talk to him continuously, and I agree with that. Talk to the king on a continuous basis, consult him on an ongoing basis to make sure that this project works smoothly. We are now at a stage in our country where it is no longer doable for anybody, for any company, to just go to any area of our country and think that as an outsider they will be able to mount a project and do it and just walk away. Our people demand that they should be consulted. Our people want to be part of the project, and they are living up to the slogan that nothing about us without us. And Nalapa, it cannot be anything without the community of this place. It is my hope that SANRAL continues with this proactive engagement with communities in all the projects that it embarks upon. I know it takes time. You know, in China, a bridge enje, it will take them possibly 6 months. And kwezinye indawo it will take them a year. And here it's taken us long. The only downside about this is that it costs more. As Premier Mabuyane was saying, it costs more money, so we need to manage the community engagement aspect and also manage the cost escalation ebakhona. For instance, we should make sure that as we balance both to involve communities and the money that will be used in a project, we are able to get a project done on time, on budget, and it achieves all the objectives. Now, if there are no further delays, we hope the project will be completed by the end of 2025 or early 2026. Now, this is a mega project. It's a really big project, and I went to the foundation of the pylons that they are building, and I looked at how this suspended road is going to look like. It is a big project. And I'm glad that black companies are at the helm of this project. Bafikile abantu abamnyama, bafikile. They are here. The CEO of one of the companies was telling me that they've got 600 engineers, and a good number of them are professional staff. Good number of them are black, and of course they've got other well-experienced engineers and professionals who come from other national groups. Now, a mixture of all that gives rise to a really great outcome that we are going to see here. Now, when it comes to communities, communities have the rightful expectation that when their areas are the sites of large-scale economic projects, whether it is roads, construction or mining, whether it's at Kolobeni or wherever, that they should benefit from them. And at the same time, I want to make a call to our communities to ensure that they work with us, not against us. Because if you work with us and not against us, you are working for the community. Now, there are moments when community members use various other means, and sometimes those other means turn out into violence, into protests that go violent. Now, you don't need to be violent if you want a share of the benefits from the projects. Kodwa hayi laba abazibiza ukuthi amadela ukubona, because those are thugs. Those are thugs. We want participation to be community-led, to be community-based, and our people must feel good they are benefiting on their own. I le yo madela ukubona. Asibafuna umadela ukubona apha kulama project anje. We want our communities to be involved. Now, the other problem, of course, is that when there are stoppages in projects, it just doesn't cost the contractors themselves. Fananala Abaya at the Msikaba Bridge, who had to leave. It also costs the entire country, and it also turns investors away. But it also makes the cost of borrowing go higher for us, because investors look at South Africa and say, no, we are not going to go to this country, and we are not going to go to invest in this area, because people turn against those who are building these structures. Now, it is important that we work together in this regard. The very purpose that these structures are being built is to allow our people to benefit from them. It is to allow goods and services to reach you in our communities. And we will lose many projects, and they will be forever delayed if we continue working in this way. Now, I call on all our communities, particularly on the Wild Coast, including Amakosi, to support not only this project, but other projects that we're going to have. We've got big dreams and big projects for here in the Eastern Cape. The Eastern Cape is one of the poorest provinces in our country. Premier Mabuyane is absolutely right. During our cabinet strategizing session, we all saw a clear picture of how poverty-stricken the Eastern Cape is. And I'm determined that we should turn this around for the Eastern Cape and other provinces that have a bigger load share of the poverty in our country. We want to create jobs here, and we want to turn the economic fortunes of the Eastern Cape so that abantu balapha, they must not be moving out of the Eastern Cape forever because there are no opportunities. We want young people to stay here, and we want all our people to work here in the Eastern Cape. And it is for this reason that we are embarking on these many projects. So the Eastern Cape is definitely going to see a project as needs, as zawuba khona apha, as zawakha imisebenzi, projects as zawenza ukuthi economy yethu apha Eastern Cape must keep growing. It will only succeed if we all work together as government, as communities, as well as agencies like SANRAL and our contractors as well. And I'm glad that even the contracting companies that come here have become more sensitive. Yes, they want to make a profit, but they become more sensitive to involving the communities and making sure that they work with the communities. So I want to urge our communities to use platforms that we have to make their voices heard. Yes, even our communities in Ekolobe, use the platforms that we have. Let us engage to see how best this project that we've been talking about, Ekolobe, can be discussed and agreement also be reached. And we must desist from criminality and vandalism. What we are seeing here today makes it clear it is not true that communities do not benefit from big government projects. The N2 Wild Coast Road project has created jobs, especially for women and young people. And let me say that it was a real joy. Ubona omama kule construction site, omama bathwele insimbi, of course not too heavy, and the too heavy ones. But to see them wearing their hard hats and they're wearing the safety boots and all that, working alongside men on this construction site where heavy concrete and heavy steel is being installed. It was a real joy. And it's also a real joy to hear Guti Kunosisi, who is running this whole site. Kangan Fumani Kamalaki. Kodwa usisi, she's still young. She's the boss of this area and this project. So that made me very happy. Now it is not far-fetched to say that years from now, this same N2 Wild Coast Road will enable an entrepreneur, umuntu osuka lapha from Lusikisiki, to transport their goods onwards to Gaborone, onwards to Lusaka, then to Dar es Salaam, and finally further north also to the northern countries on our continent. It is also not inconceivable that a bus from Kinshasa, from the DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo, will be able to bring tourists directly here to the Wild Coast, traveling on this N2 that is being improved and being constructed. Now, through the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa, we have a common framework for African stakeholders to build the infrastructure necessary for more integrated transport. You might know Gutitina as South Africa, basnige on the African continent umsebenzi we infrastructure. So I am chairing the infrastructure build project for the entire continent. And this feeds into the work that we are doing at the continental level. What is for us to do now is to proceed with this project to completion and do all we can without any further delays. And are working together with our communities, I am confident that this can and it will be achieved. I once again congratulate all those who've been involved in this project, for the provincial government through the Premier of having enabled this project to reach this point. Yes, the Department of Transport, Minister Mbalula, yes, for having nurtured this project and made sure that it gets here. Minister Mkhunu, I want to urge him in anticipation. Ukuthi abantu balapha Eastern Cape, they are looking at you and they now say you are Minister Umzimvubu Dam. Bayifuna nayo idam, make a point that you get there. Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams already has targeted this area for great small business development, and I'd like to see that happening. I want to thank the construction companies for their diligence and their involvement in this project and the manner in which they are executing it. This is a model manner of executing a project, and I know that once you have done this project, your names as companies is now going to be on the global map because of the way you have executed it, not only from a technical point of view or a commercial point of view, but also from a community-based point of view. And it's a pride for us to know that the material that is being used here, the steel, the concrete, I mean that concrete creating 2 towers there, were set up by a local-based company. It's not a company that comes from Johannesburg or Gauteng. It's a local company. The stone that is being used has been crushed here, and it's being done by a locally based company. So that must fill us with pride. And I often say, I don't like these projects where we parachute, all functions of a company, of a project from outside. Now, this is a model project. I wish I was a student, I would do a great study of this, because I have not seen a project as good as this one, where the local people as workers, where the local entrepreneurs are involved, where the community is involved in a project of this. So I'd like to thank the construction companies, the small medium enterprises that are also involved here. And I'd also like to thank Amakhosi Etu for championing this project. And it's not going to be problem-free. Zizawubakhona ingxaki as i-project le iqhubeka. Kodwa we have now established a very good method of making sure that we can talk about our challenges and our programs. So if you want to know what makes me happy as a president, this is the type of project that really makes me happy. So I am a happy president today. Now on Friday, so it will be National Heritage Day. And I'd like to wish all of us here today to have a wonderful Heritage Day tomorrow as we celebrate our cultures, our traditions. But I'd like to say that the bricks and the mortar that is being used to construct this bridge will also form part of our heritage. And maybe one Heritage Day, Premier, you should come and celebrate a Heritage Day up on this bridge. What is being constructed here is just not for our use and benefit. We are building the future. Future generations will look at what we have constructed here and say, yes, there were once people who led this process, who did a fantastic job. And Dia, you will be counted as amongst those. Balula, you'll be counted as amongst those. Diabulela, thank you very much. I wish I would not go back to Gauteng, Nihlale Apa, Nikinyama. Diabulela.
Ndiyabona kapha emampondweni kunqabe nembongi. Azikho imbongi.